Your local news and weather from where you live. News Watch 12 Midday starts now.
Some school districts may get shortchanged by state funding formulas. This is topping our news on Friday, September 12th. Hello and welcome to News Watch 12 Midday. I'm Sade Gray, meteorologist. Melissa Constanza joins us. And Melissa, all I'm going to say is that I'm wearing a pea coat in September. Let me say that one more time. I'm wearing a pea coat in September with a scarf.
I had mine on. Yeah, you were mentioning the scarf earlier too. Yeah, it's cold.
A bipartisan mix of state lawmakers believe it has a fairer way to fund public schools. Rural schools and schools with declining enrollment make up most of the Northwoods. They often get hurt the most by the state school funding formula. Senator Dale Schultz and Representative Mandy Wright think the fair funding for our future proposal would go a long way. State Superintendent Tony Evers put the plan together in part to strengthen rural and declining enrollment schools. Right now, Wisconsin doesn't have a minimum level of state aid per student to schools. The plan would change that.
The base funding of $3,000 per student is incredibly important because as I toured on the Rural Schools Task Force, I met so many districts. I think I've actually heard the number 1 out of 10 districts receive no state funding.
Many districts in the Northwoods get little or no state aid because of high property values. Decades ago, Wisconsin promised 2/3 of school funding would come from the state, but that slipped to about 45% over time. It has forced many districts, especially rural districts, to consistently go to referendum to pay the bills.
The state has shirked its responsibility, is that referendums have become a necessity. And I think that's sad.
Public school funding is a complicated but pressing issue. We have a more detailed story on Thursday's night's forum in Rhinelander and possible solutions on our website, WJFW.com. A helicopter needed to be brought in to take away an injured motorcycle rider after a crash in Lincoln County. The accident happened just after 8 this morning at the intersection of Highway 8 and County Highway L. The collision involved a car and a motorcycle. The people in the car were not hurt. Highway 8 was closed in both directions after the crash, but is now open again. Thousands of motorcyclists are in the area for the annual fall ride. Hunters spend a lot of time in the woods, so what they see can help with wildlife management. The State Department of Natural Resources is urging bow hunters to report their wildlife observation online. The archery and crossbow deer season open on Saturday. The DNR wants hunters to record all of their wildlife observations in a survey available on the agency's website. The information can provide insight into the abundance of many wildlife species. They also want to learn about the level hunting activity. The survey period ends in January. A Northwoods tradition celebrates 50 years this fall. Beef-O-Rama in Minocqua will kick off at the end of September. But one Northwoods art group is already getting into the spirit. The Lakeland Art League painted more than 50 pieces of original artwork. In honor of Beef-O-Rama, you'll find all sorts of different cows on display at Great Northern Coffee Traders in Minocqua.
And so over this long winter that we had 32 member artists who painted cows in all shapes, forms, funny ones, sad ones, scary ones, goofy ones, and it's just turned into a wonderful exhibit.
Lakeland Art League has members all across the Northwoods. They hold workshops, sponsor art events, and provide scholarships. All funds raised from the 50 Cows for 50 Years exhibit will go towards scholarships. You can find the exhibit in Minocqua until October 8th. When Secretary of State John Kerry arrived in Turkey Friday morning, he didn't come empty-handed. He announced the U.S. will provide nearly $500 million in additional humanitarian aid to help those affected by the unrest in Syria. Meanwhile, the U.S. has put eyes in the sky over Syria to find potential ISIS targets as part of the plan to crush the militant group. Joe Johns has an update. Bats may scare some, including myself, but they play an important role in Wisconsin. Coming up on Newswatch 12 Midday, we'll tell you about a new effort to teach people about bats.